first time a lot of us were introduced to the concept of a step parent, it was in the fairy tale called Cinderella. I remember a conversation with another little friend who said in disbelief, "Surely a step parent can't be that cruel." Well, you never know, because the first time I was introduced to a step parent is my step grandmother, and boy, did she live up to the title. A little more about my family in a nutshell. My mom is divorced, and I've never met anyone from my dad's side of the family. So basically, just one set of grandparents. And to add to that, my real grandmom had passed away a few years back, and that's how this step situation came to be. Now, my impression from a grandmom from movies and stories was always that they're gentle, loving creatures that shower their grandchildren with warm cookies and tales from their childhood and an ugly sweater or two. And here was my grandmother, filled with all the hate in the world, and no one to take it out on but me. Throughout my childhood, she tortured me. This woman would beat me when no one was around, drag me down the stairs, and even add a whole lot of extra chilies to my food so I couldn't eat it. So much so that till I was in my fourth standard, I only ate curd rice. And even that, she would switch the fresh curd with old curd. I didn't know any difference then. It was as if I was living my own Cinderella story. While that sounds like a terrible childhood, to me it was completely normal. Because whatever you go through becomes your normal. I just assumed that this is how all kids grow up. Until one day my mom saw bruises and asked me what happened. She says I replied so nonchalantly about the abuse that it broke her heart. Eventually, my mom and I left home and started living on our own. And that's when we thought we were away from all the abuse. But that's the thing, that's what we thought. But here's where things got strange. Now, as an educated person, I like to not believe in things like black magic. But as someone who's experienced it, I still like to not believe in black magic. All I can say, in absolute millennial terms, is that it sucks. From seeing lizards appear out of nowhere to being followed by shadows, and no, not just our own. A constant feeling of dread and falling ill without doctors being able to figure out what's wrong. To randomly feeling like someone has set my hands on fire. And believe me, this is something that would happen so often. It was scary for sure, but also for the fact that we had no clue what was going on. We also didn't know who to talk to and didn't want to tell anyone because we feared sounding like crazy people. But what we started doing is we started praying a lot. Not sure if that's crazy either, but one day, and truly this sounds like something that happened in a movie, but one day a stranger walked up to my mom on the street and told her something on the lines of, "I read auras and a woman has done black magic on you." This is really the short of it. My mom still doesn't know who that was. She didn't believe her either. And at that point thought that this is just a crazy person looking for attention or money. So she walked away quietly, but the thought didn't leave my mom's head. And she spoke to me about it even though I was a little girl. This is something that we went through together. And while it was strange to go through, we really didn't know what to do to get out of it either. What we did do is we visited a temple we read about online. And we told ourselves that, hey, if this is the plan that God has for us, then fine, so be it. Now here's the thing. We are really positive people. And we really believe in the power of good triumphing over evil. So we said, hey, you know what? No matter what's wrong, we're going to get through this. At some point, at one of the temples that we were at, someone literally mentioned my step-grandmom's name without having known it earlier, saying that this is the person that's casting spells on you. In today's day and age, this sounds absolutely bizarre to hear, and even more bizarre to go through. It even sounds ridiculous because there is really no solution. They tell you that this is wrong, but they don't tell you how to get out of it. So what we did do is we changed cities, we cut ties with my step-grandmother, and we just hoped for the best. While things didn't get better immediately, they did get better eventually. And in the spirit of everything happens for a reason, I'll be honest, while going through it, we didn't understand the reason at all. But what I do understand from the type of person that I am now is that even a messed up childhood can make you grow up to be a not messed up person. I know the story sounds really messed up, but if you met me now in person, you'd see that I'm a super positive, resilient, and strong person. Even the kind of work I do or my social media says nothing about the kind of childhood I've had. And I feel this is true of most people, that you have no idea what's behind a face, that you have no idea what kind of scars they bear under the clothes they wear. I don't blame my childhood for anything, but I do owe it everything. I am who I am because of it. And like I said, in the spirit of good triumphs over evil, and as cliche as it sounds, Cinderella did win and end up happily ever after, away from her stepmom. And so did we. Fairy tales are based in some reality after all. And yes, my Nani is definitely not like your Nani. Thank you.